All right, the project is clearly moving along here. We have the decals removed. We have put urethane covering over the exposed surfaces of the foam and where the decals were. Done a light sanding and then a kind of a double check to make sure that the areas are smooth. I also took an X-Acto knife and kind of ran along the leading edge of the wings and some of these different foam pieces to get rid of some of that molding flash and a little bit of the misalignment between the pieces there. So everything is now nice and smooth and is kind of ready to be prepped for painting. So to do that, one of the first things I do is start with masking tape. The Tamiya model masking tape 6mm is one of my go-to masking tape. This is what I use to kind of go around the window area. I'll be using this to do any masking on the aircraft itself, anywhere that I want to be very careful about what I am masking and I need a real tight line or sharp edge or anything. This is the stuff I use. It's great. You can get it at Hobby Shop, you can get it at Hobby Lobby. I think maybe even Horizon may even offer it. You can get it from Amazon, you can get it from anywhere. I also use some blue, some delicate blue tape. It doesn't stick all that great, which is great because there's a lot of times you don't want paint to stick or the tape to stick too much because it will pull the tape off. You can always take a chunk of the tape here, and I'll give you a little trick here. So you peel off a piece and you want to kind of stick it on your shirt or your pant leg, and what you're trying to do is pick up some lint and take off some of the tack of the tape. And this is one of the keys to making sure that when you go to paint and you put the tape down and you peel it back off when you're done, you don't peel off all that fresh paint. I've been doing that for years now and have had fantastic luck. Sometimes without any touch-up whatsoever, the more you put on it. However, if you have pets like I do, you end up with cat hair in the paint too, so make sure you keep an eye out for that. And then there's also the yellow frog tape. I use this over larger areas. Once again, with tape this thick, I stick it to my pant legs quite a bit. But what I'll end up doing here is I'll put down the Tamiya tape first. This is what will touch the paint. This will go on the Tamiya paint. Usually I'll take some newspaper or something. So maybe only about a 1/4 inch or so, 1/2 inch of this will be exposed, and then the rest will be on a piece of paper. The least amount of tape you can have touching the airframe, the better. So do everything you can to minimize that. Somebody would, if you took this, stuck it right on the wing, ran it across here on a flat surface, you'd probably find out that you would end up in trouble when you peeled that back off. So just be advised of that. And then lastly, you want to clean the surface. You don't want to just flatly paint on it, especially after you've been sanding and working on it and your hands get grease on it. So I have a spray bottle here. This is actually a little bit of Dawn dish soap, just a few drops, and a little bit of denatured alcohol. I'm thinking I don't remember if it still has any fingernail polish remover in it or not. Heavily diluted though, because I really wanted to make sure that I'm not stripping off the paint. However, don't be surprised if you, so I just spray this on here a little bit and just kind of wipe down an area. And don't be surprised if you get a little blue and green paint on this. Actually, this I've already wiped it down once already because I added the clear coat. But yeah, don't be surprised if you get just a little bit of factory paint. And you really just want to wipe down the entire airplane and remove any type of oils, casting or molding, release oil, dust, anything that could affect the adhesion of the paint. So you want to run this over and make sure the surface is clean. Prep work is so vitally important to getting a good quality paint job. What's nice about these pre-painted models is that the base paint acts like a great primer. When I did this to my Cherokee and I had dealt with a lot of bare foam and that bright red paint, it was a massive undertaking to get it ready to paint. This is going to be much easier, but you still want to make sure you take the time to wipe everything down and get the plane ready before you get the paint out. And for the primer, we're going to be using this Rustoleum 2X flat gray primer. This stuff is fantastic because it doesn't bleed through the rest of the colors. It goes on very easily, it doesn't damage the foam, and it really covers the area quite well. I used white primer on my Cherokee to start with, and I had to keep adding more and more and more white paint to try to get rid of all the red that was there from the factory. Shot of this, cleared that right up. And so this is kind of my go-to primer now. I'll be using Rustoleum 2X white on the bottom, and I'll be using Tamiya dark navy blue, and I think it's dark sea blue, and intermediate blue on the top. I need military spec colors for that, but white, it's pretty much white. So this is the next step for me, is to go out and shoot this in the garage and get the airplane all gray, and then I'll be actually feeling over all the surfaces again, just to make sure that before I start adding any top coats to it, that the paint is smooth. You don't see any of the old decals shining through. You don't see where like the demarcation line is between the blue, the white, and the green. You don't want to see any of that. You don't want to feel any of that, because it will show up on the top coat as well. If I find any of it, I'll sand it back down and then touch it up with some gray primer, and I should be good to go. So with that said, I'm going to finish wiping down the aircraft with my magical mixture here, and then give the can a shake, and we'll go out and add some primer. And now it's really starting to come together and look like the Corsair that I want it to look.